Alrighty then guys, I guess the first thing I have to say is welcome. This is going to be a new channel for those of you that came over from Herder of Buffalo. That is obviously still going to be my main priority. Uploading Call of Duty videos is something I'm interested in, and for those of you that are completely new, because this is football based, I don't know where you're going to come from, but if you're interested in football, this is the place to be, because what we're going to be doing on this channel is pretty much discussing everything football related. When FIFA 13 comes out, there'll be FIFA 13 footage, go into the Ultimate Team stuff. This is pretty much just going to be a second channel dedicated to football. So obviously today we need to kickstart things and obviously get right into the turf pretty much, you know. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions for the new Premier League season, and bear with me 2 seconds. I need to go turn the volume down over here, because FIFA 12 is still playing. I've just played a match with PSG, won 3-2 against Napoli online. It was a pretty good game, evenly contested, went 2-0 up and ended up going 2-2 and won 3-2, so all is pretty good. So right, Premier League. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, and by the end of it you'll know who I believe is going to win it this season. But we're going to start off with the relegation places, and of course the teams coming up last season: Reading, Southampton and West Ham. And personally for me, I think all 3 teams have the capabilities to remain in the Premier League this season. We saw it last season with QPR, Norwich and Swansea. They all managed to stay up, and I think the credentials of all 3 of these new clubs are pretty similar to that of those that came up last season. We saw Southampton yesterday obviously had their backs against the wall because they were playing against City, but they tried to go and play football. Reading, of course, we know they're a good football inside when they want to be. And West Ham as well, obviously with Premier League experience, it's still got some good players in there. The likes of Kevin Nolan, obviously he came up and scored the goal against Villa, so I think West Ham are going to be fine as well. I think all 3 of those teams have the abilities to stay up. In terms of going down though, I think, you know, we saw it at the weekend with Norwich losing 5-0 to Fulham. I think second season syndrome could definitely kick in for Norwich. I think, you know, they're going to have a real fight on their hands if they want to stay up. As well as that, I think, you know, before the weekend I would have said West Brom, but obviously a start like that against Liverpool, of course there is still 37 matches to play, so obviously we can't speak too soon, but possibly West Brom will be down there at the end. And as well as that, QPR, and by all means guys, I'm not just saying QPR and Norwich simply because they got battered at the weekend by Swansea and Fulham respectively. I'm saying it because I honestly do not think the 2 teams have enough strength and depth in order to stay up. Of course QPR have signed some good players, the likes of Park, that Diakite, I don't know how to say his name, but he looks like a good acquisition. Yeah, I think QPR and Norwich could be going down, and Wigan as well. Obviously against Chelsea on Sunday, they came back into the game, they played pretty well, but for me they don't have enough going forward at all. If Victor Moses is going to leave, I honestly think Wigan are not going to be left with a leg to stand on. So I think Wigan, for me, they're dead certs to go down this season. But of course, obviously, what have they been doing in the past few years? They've been, you know, in the relegation zone right until the end, and then suddenly they managed to stay up. So who knows, they may do that again. Obviously under Martinez, they've got a good manager there with a good bit of stability behind, obviously with the board and the managerial status and stuff. But yeah, I think it will be Wigan, QPR and Norwich. And you know, a lot of people are saying QPR for me. Norwich and Wigan are definites to go down for me. So, you know, QPR could be down there at the end. And another team that I think may struggle is Aston Villa. Obviously there is another new manager, so things may turn out well, but you know, that's not always the way it works. With a new manager, it either clicks or it doesn't click. That is why so many managers see the exit door pretty much straight away nowadays in any league, not just the Premier League, the Football League. You see it happening 24/7. So that is who I think is going to go down, and obviously the mid-table teams are always going to be the mid-table teams. That very rarely changes. So let's go into the Europa League places and that hunt for the Champions League spots. And obviously Chelsea last season came 6th. I don't think that's going to happen this season. We'll put them into another bracket in a moment. But I think the race for the Europa League spots, I think Liverpool, if they were to get into the Europa League this season in the top 6, I think Liverpool will be happy with that. I think that'll be a good stability season for Liverpool under Brendan Rodgers. I think if they can come into that top 6, that will be a successful season for them. But I also see the likes of Stoke, the likes of even Reading, a couple of those promoted sides. I can see them challenging for a top 8 finish, and a lot of people may disagree with that. But you know, Reading haven't really signed that many big names, but I think Pogrebniak could be a really, really big player for them this season. I think obviously last season at Fulham, he showed he's got the credentials to perform in the Premier League, and you know, if he's firing on all cylinders like he was from January onwards for Fulham, I think Reading could be up there in the top half again, like they did in the first season when they came up last time. But obviously, I think it's going to be in the top 4. I think, you know, the top 2, I've got my ideas on who that's going to be, but I think the rest of the Champions League places will be filled up by Chelsea, and I'm going to say Tottenham. I think under Andre Villas-Boas, I think Tottenham could have a good season. Obviously, his his procedure, his way of going about things didn't really work at Chelsea. But I think with the attacking, aggressive players that Tottenham have going forward, I think under his policy things could be really good for Spurs this season. Of course, they didn't do so well against Newcastle in the 2-1 defeat, but that was obviously a closely contested game. It could have gone either way from the way I was watching it. But yeah, I think they need to keep hold of Jermaine Defoe. I think Jermaine Defoe is one of the most underrated strikers in the Premier League. You saw what he did for England against Italy. It's a fantastic finish, and then obviously to pop up with the poacher's goal against Newcastle. I think Spurs will end up being there at the end of the season with Chelsea. And, you know, Chelsea, I'm going to get into them in another video. I'm going to speak about, obviously, because I'm a Chelsea fan. I want to speak about why I'm a Chelsea fan, what it's like to be a Chelsea fan, and what I think Chelsea are going to be like in all competitions this season. But obviously, the key teams that we're really missing out from that top four are Arsenal and Newcastle. I think Arsenal losing Van Persie is a really big blow for them. Of course, with Podolski and Giroud, they've got two good strikers there. Obviously, they're established in the French league and the German league respectively, but with no Premier League experience, dropping those straight into the frame, it could be a while before that new Arsenal team clicks. And of course, losing Song to Barcelona is something we've recently found out as well. I think that's a big loss for Arsenal. Of course, they've got Diaby playing in a similar position, but I think Song gave them a different dimension, and I think without him and Van Persie, they might struggle, and I think Wenger needs to spend some more money before the end of August in order for them to be competing for the top four places. If Arsenal are to get into the top four this season, of course, that is going to be a bonus for them. I think, you know, plans for the title for this season at least, unless they spend, maybe, you never know, but with Arsenal, obviously they're always there or thereabouts, but this season I don't think it's going to be. Last season, for them, finishing third, I thought that was a really big success last season. I didn't think they were going to be able to contest it at all, of course, coming up from fifth for most of the season. But yeah, I think Arsenal are going to be away. So that leaves, obviously, Chelsea third, Tottenham fourth, I think Arsenal probably still fifth, Newcastle sixth, and Liverpool seventh, which obviously leaves us now with the top two, United and City. And for me, this is impossible to call. Obviously, tonight we're going to see United play Everton, and I think there, if Van Persie does start with Rooney, we're going to see immediately whether or not that partnership is going to be, you know, a good, successful one. And obviously, it's going to take, with two big names like that, two big strikers who both, you know, Rooney doesn't really carry United in a sense, but he does because of the goals he scores. But with Van Persie, he pretty much ran that Arsenal team last season. So it's going to be difficult to see. It's going to be interesting to see how those two blend in together, whether or not it really fits. But if Van Persie and Rooney make a good partnership up front, I can't see the title going anywhere else but United this season. I honestly think that last season I gained a lot of respect for Manchester United for pushing City all the way, and you know, the money that City have spent. Of course, I don't want to sit here bitching about clubs spending loads of money, because that would be hypocritical, because I'm a Chelsea fan. So, but the fact United didn't spend a lot, they obviously had a team that they built up with foundations over about the period of 2 or 3 years. The fact they contested that title right until the final second, and obviously, as we know, it was that final second that clinched it. For me, I think United, they've got a good base, and under Alex Ferguson, they're always going to challenge. And for me, depending on whether or not Van Persie and Rooney click, which I do think they will, I think we'll see it tonight. I think United will beat Everton, and I think there will be an immediate impact at Old Trafford, you know, for United. So I think United are going to steal it this season. Obviously, City will be there or thereabouts, but again, in the first day against Southampton, of course, playing against a newly promoted club, it's always going to be difficult. They're going to be up for it. That's going to be like a Champions League final for them, so to speak. So obviously it was a difficult game for City, but the fact they came back from 2-1 down to beat them 3-2, that is the stuff of champions. Of course, you know, you don't just win a Premier League title over. Okay guys, apologies for the rather abrupt ending right there. I promise you that was not supposed to happen. I was using the camera, and without even realising it, I actually can only record for 8 minutes and so many seconds. So that's why it randomly cut out, but as you could probably tell, I think Manchester United are going to win the title if Van Persie and Rooney click together as a partnership. But apart from that, obviously City are going to be there or thereabouts. But my prediction right from this moment is Manchester United to lift the crown in May next year. So watch this space, and you've heard it here first. But anyway guys, what I want to say now is basically what is going to be happening for the rest of this channel is pretty much you guys can dictate to me in the comment section. I know there's not going to be hardly anyone watching this video, but for those of you that do watch it, please take the time out to leave a comment saying the stuff that you want to hear and what you want to hear me speak about. And as well as that, I'm going to leave a link to a blog that a friend of mine has started. It's a really good football blog where you can pretty much just type up anything about anything football related that you want. Of course, it has to be of some sort of decent quality, and I'm going to leave a link to that because he spent a lot of time working on this blog, and it is
is really good. I've been meaning to mention it for quite some time. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you do enjoy me sitting here speaking about football, let me know by subscribing, let me know by commenting and liking this video. It would mean a lot to me, and as well as that, if you also are a gamer and this is the first time you've ever heard me speak, I do a Call of Duty channel as well. So go and hop over that will be in the other channel section. But thank you very much for watching, guys. My voice hurts and it's time to go and munch into a pot noodle. I'm getting used to uni food right away. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.